People are gathering right now at the Colorado State Capitol protesting against President Donald Trump's weekend military action against Iran. Last night, U.S. airstrikes hit 3 nuclear facilities in what the Pentagon is calling Operation Midnight Hammer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Meckles. This is the first time ever the U.S. has attacked Iran directly. The Pentagon said the targeted attack was meant to cripple Iran's nuclear program. The Pentagon said more than 125 military aircraft were used in the strike, and a company here in Colorado actually released these satellite images that captured Iran before and after the areas that were struck. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the U.S. did not target Iranian troops or people.
The battle damage assessment is ongoing, but our initial assessment, as the chairman said, is that all of our precision munitions struck where we wanted them to strike and had the desired effect, which means especially in Fordo, which was the primary target here, we believe we achieved destruction of capabilities there.
So the strikes mean the U.S. is now officially involved in this conflict between Israel and Iran, which has been escalating for 2 weeks now. Vice President J.D. Vance characterized these strikes not as a U.S. war with Iran, but a war with Iran's nuclear program. Iran's top diplomat posted online today calling the attack outrageous and saying it will have everlasting consequences. The Department of Homeland Security is warning about heightened threats in the U.S. after these airstrikes. The department says low-level cyber attacks against U.S. networks are likely and warns that the threat of potential violence would likely increase if Iranian leaders call for retaliatory attacks against targets in the U.S. Here in Colorado, support for the president's decision to strike falls mostly along party lines. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow, a former U.S. Army Ranger now serving on the House Armed Services Committee, wrote on social media that Trump, quote, broke a promise to prevent America from entering new conflicts. He accused the president of exceeding his authority. Many Republicans that were cheering the move. Congressman Jeff Hurd represents Colorado's southern communities and western slope. He wrote that he, quote, fully supports actions taken to prevent an evil regime from being able to harm us, Israel, and our other allies. And we're hearing from so many people today with opinions on what has happened this weekend in Iran, particularly those who came to America from that country. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry joins us tonight. You spoke to someone who's been talking about the issues in Iran long before this weekend.
Yeah, Jenny, if you've driven by the Colorado State Capitol any weekend over the last few years, you may have seen Roshan Kiani. The 75-year-old has made it his mission to protest against the Iranian government. While he's still not a supporter of Iran's government, he says bombs are not the answer and fears the people caught in the middle will suffer most.
In the shadows of the Colorado Capitol, one man wants to bring some issues to light.
I put the democracy for all because everybody's suffering.
Roshan Kiani has spent every weekend over the last
4.5 years
sitting outside of the Capitol protesting the politics in Iran, the country he came to the United States from. A country
she didn't obey.
He says his sister was killed in for not wearing a headscarf.
She didn't obey. That is the executor.
Kiani advocates for women's rights and democracy in Iran. This weekend's focus felt different.
I'm not supporting the war because it's gonna violence after violence, and that is not gonna help the unity for the people, global people.
And so the Israeli, from their perspective, are extremely happy about what's going on.
Micheline Ishai is the director of the Center of Middle East Studies at DU. Her prediction that Israelis and their supporters would be pleased over Saturday's bombings appears to be true. Jewish Colorado shared a statement on social media saying in part, quote, Jewish Federations of North America applaud the decisive and historic action taken on June 21st to dismantle Iran's key nuclear facilities. We could not be prouder to have the United States join together with the state of Israel in defense of the free world.
To what extent are the Iranians going to react? They will react, they will retaliate.
Ishai says how Iran responds will be critical in this conflict. Kiani thinks
no.
The answer's easy.
Don't use the taxpayer to bomb for the benefit of the 1%.
He hopes if anything comes out of all of this, it's awareness of this decades-old issue and the people willing to talk about it.
I'm here. I'm not going to quit.
Kiani encourages anyone who wants to talk about this issue to visit him at the Capitol any weekend. He knows not everyone agrees with his views, and he welcomes a lively debate. Jenny?
And you know where to find him because he's always there.
Yep.
All right, Jaleesa, thank you. Turning our attention now to the other big story of the day, which continues to be the weather here in Colorado. The heat this weekend, my goodness. Luckily, today wasn't quite as hot as the last couple days. Temps still hovered in the low 90s, though. Wind with the hot and dry weather has, of course, elevated our fire danger this weekend. 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin joins us now. Finally, some relief on the way, Kathy.
And we're ready, I think, for the first official weekend of summer. 99 Saturday, 98 yesterday, and so far 92 here in Denver this afternoon. That number could go higher, but as Jenny mentioned, the wind has elevated the fire danger, taking a lot of moisture out of lower levels of the atmosphere. So worried about the fire danger, but changes are coming starting tonight with the arrival of a cold front due in around 9 o'clock. Temperatures this hour, 90 at 9 News, 92 at DIA, 100 at Rocky Ford, 86 in Grand Junction. Winds are really starting to increase out of the southwest ahead of a cold front that's approaching from the north. Red flag warnings for high fire danger remain in effect for western Colorado through 8 o'clock. This is the system that we're tracking that will bring cooler weather and an increase in moisture starting tomorrow. We're seeing some severe thunderstorms just north of Colorado in Wyoming and Nebraska. We've had a couple of gusty and some wind reports coming in from non-thunderstorm. Really just very gusty conditions, 50 and 60 mile-per-hour gusts there, but really the heavier storms up near Cheyenne and Kimball with some signs of rotation and large hail potential. Severe thunderstorm watch Wyoming, Nebraska, up into South Dakota. That's a tornado watch there through the northern plain states. So all part of a change in the weather pattern. However, I want to draw your attention to something I'm going to be watching for about 8 o'clock tonight. An isolated cell may pop up around Sterling, and that is right ahead of that cold front, which is due in here around 9 o'clock. And then overnight, what we're seeing here is fog coming back into the metro area that will impact you if you're driving late tonight or early tomorrow morning. Temperatures in the 90s now. We're going to drop into the 80s in just a couple hours. Your weather headlines. We'll check that radar again, tell you more about the timing of the cold front, and have a cooler Monday forecast in just a bit.
All right, Kathy. Thank you. Tonight, a man believed to be Larry Baker has been found dead at Watson Lake, according to the Larimer County Sheriff's Office. The 80-year-old had been missing since Monday. His car was found parked at Watson Lake. Search crews closed off the lake to search earlier this week, and the Sheriff's Office says a body was found this morning. Ultimately, the coroner's office will determine for sure whether it's Baker and what had happened to him. Jefferson County deputies have arrested a man in his 30s that they say tried to kidnap a child at a grocery store in Littleton this weekend. The Jeffco Sheriff's Office said it happened right before noon yesterday at the Safeway on South Kipling. Sheriff's Office said an 8-year-old girl was shopping with her grandmother when 34-year-old Bradley Wilson approached her. The Sheriff's Office said he tried to walk the girl out to his car twice. The first time, the girl broke free and ran away. And the second time, store personnel got involved. Deputies later arrested him, and the little girl was not physically injured. Aurora police this weekend are looking for a man they say shot his wife this past week in Aurora. Police say 42-year-old Juan Carlos Rivera Garcia shot her inside a home on East Virginia Place. She went to the hospital with gunshot wounds but is expected to survive. Police say Rivera Garcia left the shooting scene driving a black, white, and gray flatbed truck, pictured here. I hope if anybody has information, please give them a call. Looking ahead this week, the man accused of causing a car crash that killed a Golden police officer and seriously hurt another one is expected back in court tomorrow. Prosecutors say 43-year-old Stephen Gear was drunk when he crashed into a police car on Highway 58 last fall. Golden police officer Evan Dunn and his partner officer Bethany Grusing were investigating a crash when this happened. Dunn was killed. Grusing was badly hurt. Gear is expected back in court for an arraignment tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Also tomorrow, a former child custody investigator accused of faking her credentials to get a job is expected to be sentenced. 57-year-old Shannon McShane, also known as Shannon Terrell, pleaded guilty back in April. She claimed she'd earned a PhD at a university in England, which then allowed her to become a licensed psychologist and addiction counselor. Prosecutors say she used those credentials to get several jobs with the state. Her sentencing is scheduled for tomorrow afternoon.